do you think anyone can learn screenwriting?
I think anyone can learn screenwriting, but not everyone can do it well.
Okay. What kind of changes have you seen in the craft of screenwriting in recent years, like new trends and things like this?
Well, I think there are certainly trends that I could talk about, but my sense is that the trends are not nearly as important as the fundamentals that remain the same. It's the trick to becoming a really good screenwriter and to working at the professional level is to master what are universal principles of good storytelling. And these fundamentally have not changed. Yes, film has gotten faster, especially mainstream Hollywood film has gotten faster. And that puts certain requirements on the writer to be able to depict character while the plot is moving at faster and faster speed, which is very difficult to do. But fundamentally, the same principles apply, which is that you have to define a strong main character with a great weakness and need at the beginning of the story, somebody who's in trouble. They have to go up against a main opponent who will generate strong conflict, and then we need to build that conflict all the way to the end of the story. This does not change over time, and this doesn't change depending on what country that you're making your film. It doesn't even change depending on what genre you're working in. And that's what I emphasize to writers and people trying to become professional writers is that don't worry about the trends. Those are relatively superficial. What you have to worry about are these fundamental craft techniques that you absolutely have to know to work at the professional level.
I see. There are so many books and gurus teaching about screenwriting nowadays. What would you say makes your approach different?
My approach is fundamentally different because virtually every book on the market today teaches what is known as three-act structure. And in my opinion, three-act structure not only doesn't work, it is for beginners only, and somebody who uses three-act structure cannot succeed at the professional level if they use it.
Wow.
And let me just quickly explain the fundamental difference. Three-act structure says that every script is divided into 3 acts with 2 or 3 plot points. Now, first of all, you can divide anything into 3 parts, but what good does that do you? To say that something has 3 acts means nothing more than you have a beginning, middle, and end. Right? Second of all, a good professional level script will have far more than 2 to 3 plot points. The average Hollywood film has anywhere from 7 to 10. So this is not good advice. Fundamentally, the difference between what I teach and 3-act structure books is that 3-act is a mechanical way of telling a story. It's paint by numbers. It's do this by page 27, this by page 87. This does not work. Everybody writing scripts tries to do that, which means all those scripts are the same. The techniques that I use are what I call organic as opposed to mechanical, meaning it's based on who is your main character and how does that character develop by working through a plot. And which means that the major steps of any good story, I talk about the 7 major steps of every good story. These are steps or stages that every story works through from beginning to end. And it's found in every story, no matter how long, no matter how short. It's even found in a 30-second commercial, if it's a good commercial. And again, it's super important to understand the difference because these are organic steps, meaning they are in the story. Unlike 3-act, which is imposed from outside of the story and is simply a way of dividing up a script, very similar to the old way that we would open and close a curtain in theater. Right? Film and television are much more fluid forms. We don't need to open and close a curtain. So that is the fundamental difference that I talk about. And when in the upcoming Mexico City Summit, I will be talking about these organic fundamental principles that go into good storytelling.
Okay, thank you. Do you think there's a risk of losing creativity by reading all these books on the craft of screenwriting?
If you read the wrong books, absolutely.
Okay.
And I'm not trying to be petty in terms of putting down everybody else's work. I truly believe that this 3-act approach will kill any creativity. It is by definition unoriginal. You cannot write an original script if you do this, right? And so, but structure, if you're talking about real story structure, deep story structure, does not have to be, doesn't stunt creativity. It actually increases creativity. Because what I try to do is get people to focus on their unique main character and what is original in their story, which no one else can do.
Exactly.
It's only unique to them. And then tell that story in the best way that it can be told. If you do that, you will tell an original story. And this is the single biggest weakness that writers make worldwide, which is that they come up with a story idea that is not original, that it is a copy of another story. And then they use 3-act structure to tell it, which makes it even less original.
I see.
Right? So it's a fundamental difference, but it's extremely important for writers to understand the difference.
Okay.